Yep.
Get you one of these. Get you one of
Ooh.
these.
Ooh. No, but babies and memories.
The boys gonna win state. Get you one of these.
Yes,
We have
sir.
arrived at the last game. Well, I mean, that isn't the Pro Bowl. Is that
How
really a
dare
game?
how dare you?
I will bet on it. I will bet
The
on it.
the disrespect.
I will bet on it if I am able to. But
You need to take this as serious as the players take the Pro Bowl, all right?
it's about one of these, right? About one of these. Welcome in. Thank you all for joining us. Friday, I was indisposed because I did, score a little come up on some VIP Torrey Pines Farmers Insurance Open tickets, which was great. Shout out to Amanda. And then ran it back on, Championship Saturday. They moved it up because of, conference championship in the NFL and
That
the
whole NFL thing. Yeah.
CBS. Well, also it's on CBS, so they're kind of like, probably let's just not step on our own stuff here. Although, unlike some sports, but we'll get into that. Tyler, how the hell are you? How was your weekend?
Doing good. Doing good. Had a decent weekend. Got to watch a lot of sports. Obviously, football. Football Sunday was the main thing, but
Football.
caught a bit of soccer. Caught the Royal Rumble Saturday night, which was pretty much a letdown. But I always enjoy watching the Rumble, so that's okay. No, oh man, doing well. Ron, how about yourself? How you doing?
Doing well. Happy to be back on with you guys. And, I mean, even the other time that I did go to the Farmers was just the one day. And unfortunately, it was
Mm-hmm.
like, a crazy day because Kobe passed away. But
Mm-hmm.
it was a cool experience being there. And then everything went all sideways. But I only went the one day. So this time was the first time I got to go, the last two rounds. And everyone's way too good at golf over there. Okay. I'm just going to say that right now. But
True.
for me, and just bear with me because my perspective is this: just don't ever think you're going to be that good at golf.
No.
And if you
No.
need to really lock that in, just go watch them because the stuff they get mad about is like the best shot you will ever hit in your life. I'm just saying that. So
True.
it's fun to see them get mad, and also it's fun to see them do stuff that only whatever cyborgs that they are can do. Um,
The best shot you've ever hit in your life is just like what they do on every hole.
yeah, and probably better than that every hole.
Yeah.
And if they hit the best shot that I ever hit in my life, they'd be pissed. So we saw. I don't even know who this guy was. Pereira. Also seconds after a brush with death was my first time out there where it was like 4 right, and everyone just ducks down,
Oh
and
no.
some girl almost just got domed, but she moved out of the way, and then she also was like, I've never been to golf before, so she was standing on it, and all the stewards run up like, don't touch it, don't touch it, don't touch it. They moved the ropes back and everything. It was pretty funny. Um, that was not Pereira though. That was a guy in his group. So this guy hit a little wayward shot. Also, it was funny. Whoever that guy was, somebody said something like, "Hey, we can get up and down from there." After he hit the next shot, and he was not. He was not feeling it. He looked back just
Nah. Didn't like it up.
like a long look back, and he was not looking at the
1,000-yard stare.
no. Yeah, it was like, ooh, might be in trouble on that one. He's not. He's not into it.
When
But
keeping it real goes wrong.
yes, this Pereira guy hit literally a 350-yard drive, and his second shot tucked it up again. All these greens are impossible. I don't know if you guys ever played Torrey Pines, but drove it right in there next to it, and
The flex throwing that out so casually.
I believe he actually missed the putt, like the short third putt. That would have been an extremely impressive birdie on this long. I mean, everything's long. Whatever you think
Right.
a par 3, 4, and 5 is, just go ahead and add 90 yards to that, and that's what these
Right.
guys
Right.
have to
Right.
play on. And yes, as the Baron pointed out, there is I don't know, Baron, back me up. I would say this tree is maybe all of 21 feet tall by itself in the middle, just off the right of the fairway. So, a lot more righties than lefties. And we saw this thing catch 2 balls, just like butterfly net, just snag them. We saw a caddy going up there to verify, yes, that's the ball. There goes another chunk of my 10%. Thanks, guy, for sucking. And then we saw it again later. As we're walking by, the Baron goes, I think that thing did it just catch another ball? They're looking at that tree again. And it's in there. So another drop for another guy. But, I mean, everything is set up diabolical out there. And unfortunately, as we kind of got out in front because as there was 4 or 5 groups left, you just want to get to somewhere you could see, if you're, I didn't have the VIP, go wherever you want or media pass or any of that. So it's get there first, get out in front. So we were probably 100-ish, 95 yards away from the 18th green. And Will Zalatoris, Willie. Oh, Willie. He came in hot. He had a really good shot. He probably left himself about 9 to 10 feet. This is from my vantage point. But then, of course, there's always another part. And those of you that may have watched on TV. Also, I do want to point out, because due to what happened, well, you know what, I'll explain that afterwards. But here was his subsequent putt to win the championship.
Oh, no.
He shorted it. I mean,
golf is a cruel mistress.
It is. It's the worst. It is the worst. So, again, you can take out of that what you want because for me, it kind of, I don't know, call it sadistic, call it what you want. You just realize no one is ever going to be good at this, ever. And the guys that are really good at it probably still think they suck. So he shorted it. They get Luke List out of the clubhouse or the driving range or wherever. He's been sitting there probably for an hour and 45 minutes already. Carts back down to the 18th tee box again. List hits a dime. I mean, within a foot. It was just an absolute. And Zalatoris was closer, so he had to watch that happen. And, of course, he did not. I mean, actually, his shot back into that green was still pretty good, but still a long putt. He didn't make it. He's a young guy. He'll get back, but it was sad to see just kind of Will, you had it, dude. You had it. You absolutely had it, and you let it go. But it happens. I mean, golf is terrible, as we've previously discussed on this program.
Golf is the worst.
But what I wanted to point out was, and I won't show the whole thing again, but so here's the view as the sun's going down. This is before the playoff. So the light is getting low. And then you see it on TV, and it looks like it's just 9 in the morning.
Yeah. So sun's right overhead.
That one playoff hole was the only one they could do. And otherwise they would have had to play it out today at some point. But it is, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how those guys do it. I mean, yes, I guess the whatever $1.3 million on the line has something to do with it.
Helps. Sure.
But it's still hard to golf when you can't see. And it was getting real low. Real low. That was for sure. That was the only hole they could do in a playoff. And unfortunately for Willie Z, he came up short. But it was awesome, and I highly recommend anyone just go to one any day of a PGA event. Friday wasn't even the championship round, and we had the VIP ticket, which is set up on the 9th tee box, and you just watch 5 feet away, watch these guys tee off, And these are guys that are, by the time we got there, 45th place. Like, they're not going to win, and they just bomb it, like 300 yards. They don't even swing hard. So if you see that one time, again, it's all about perspective. But for me, that just reinforces you will never be good at golf. Don't try to be good at golf. Just try to, get some good shots and have a good time out there.
Look, the one you got to go to is the Waste Management Open, right? That's the one to go
bucket
see.
list. I would like to go to that one, and I would like to go to Riviera, which I think they're going to be at.
Riviera would be nice.
Maybe this week in LA, but at some point, so that's doable. Or maybe they'll probably do the Olympic golf there, I would assume, when it comes to LA. But
they would have to, yeah.
Yeah, Waste Management is a whole different
No,
thing.
dude, Bakersfield Country Club, that's where they're doing it.
Well, the funny thing, too, about the Waste Management is that one is known as like the party event.
Yeah.
But really, having gone to these, they're all kind of like that. It's just a bunch of like drunk people yelling all the time, like, and just being insane. So
it sounds like Thanksgiving is what that sounds like.
Yeah, it seems very buttoned down. Like, all right, it's golf. It's very serious. We have to be quiet. But if you're in the crowd, it's just kind of like a shit show, and it's awesome.
Yeah. That's good. I'm glad you got to go to that. That was cool. Like, I know Friday when you had texted Friday morning, like, oh, I got tickets to this. I was like, well, we're not doing a show tonight, but it's understandable. Like, I totally get that.
I was going to try. I was still going to try, but then when we left out of there, we went even further north to Del Mar. It was not going to happen. But
hey, that's all right, though. Glad you had a good time with it.
Highly recommend, though. Just go to, if you're at all interested in golf. I mean, you don't have to be super fan, but it is a fun experience just to go see one of these in person and see, like I said, this guy Pereira, don't even know who he is. And he hit back-to-back 2 of the best shots I've probably ever seen in person with my own eyes. And he's just like a guy that he probably finished like 53rd. But I digress. We'll leave that in the past. And I did get to do a little par 3 golf down here in City Heights. Shout out.
There you go.
Today.
There you go.
But let's get into some of the side pieces here. Soccer. We'll talk about that in a second. But not the result, just the what are we doing as a sport. But so taking a look at some of these side pieces, as we said, let's just go ahead and start with the soccer. We did have the, sometimes dreaded, not always dreaded, international break over the last week here. So
still going on, actually.
Still going on. But let's take a look here at the Wednesday games. Or
no, those are tomorrow.
Coming. Okay.
Yeah, this is the first one, Thursday.
There we go. So, yes, USA does get the job done against El Salvador in a frigid Columbus Crew Stadium. But again, that is part of the charm and terror of all these road qualifying games for any team.
Mm-hmm.
Even as we were saying yesterday, watching, in between the AFC Championship game and the USA game that was yesterday, you do get to pick the field. Like, there's a reason why Mexico always does it at Azteca. There's a reason why El Salvador always does it at some field that looks like it just got bombed out, like, completely, and you can't do anything, and people are throwing fluids at you of different varieties.
Yeah.
But USA gets the 3 points there. We go into yesterday, and USA, 2-0. It felt more like a 1-0 game. They just couldn't show like the cutting edge to score a goal. They dominated possession. Yes, Canada, of course, put it somewhere. I mean, pretty much everywhere in Canada is going to be cold anyway. But I don't know. Tyler, and I have kind of differing opinions on this, just as far as the performance. So I will defer to Tyler first on this.
Yeah, you were definitely more positive about this game than I was. Like I kind of felt, outside of, I thought Weston McKennie was awesome. I thought he was great.
He's a
Uh,
stud. He's balling.
I even like looking back on it, I thought Dest had a good game. I kind of feel like he kind of shut down his side of the field. Granted, Canada never had possession much, but whenever they did, if they tried to go his way, he kind of stopped any attack they had there. Turner had a good game too. He had that real nice double save in the second half.
Yeah,
But
although that was a result of him not catching the ball in the first place.
yes, yes, it was. But outside of that, there was just nobody else that I thought looked good. You look at it, I think it was almost like 70-30 possession wise, and I think the U.S. got off like two good shots out of all that. Like, just what are they doing? I couldn't tell what the strategy was. I don't think the players could tell what the strategy was. I don't think the coach could tell what the strategy was. It was just like Canada was like, okay, we're going to give you the ball. We're going to hit you on a counter. And that is what Canada does. Again, you're right when you said, it's 2-0, but really it was 1-0 because the U.S. was just kind of going all out to score, and then Canada scored on a counter. But that's going to happen. But just I'm so disappointed with a lot of the performance for the players and just kind of the overall, like, what the hell are you guys doing? Like, it looked like 11 guys running around instead of a team with a focused strategy.
Well, I will agree with you in the sense that it seemed like the game plan, if you want to call it that, was just we'll show up, we have better players, and we'll have all the ball, and at some point we'll score. But the downside to that strategy is USA does not have a real number 9 yet. So
No.
they do have probably the best midfield that they've ever had, since I've been following the team. And they play out of the back more. It's less like, punt and run or hit them on the counterattack and stuff like that. So I'm happy to see that. I mean, they were still sticking to, again, whatever the strategy was of, all right, we're just going to be calm. We're going to pass it around. Like, we know we can do that now. I like seeing all of that. But without someone that can just turn and like fire on the goal, or someone that is just like your only job is just put it over the line. That is what the team is missing. They started swapping in like wingers and wing backs too to like keep the speed on the outside because Canada already had the lead. They got the lead early on them, just totally
Yeah,
blown
6-minute.
assignment.
Yeah.
And so, you kind of pack it in. They were really compact, keeping everyone behind the ball. So the only way you can really get past that is get guys with speed, cross the ball in there, and that's how we're going to get maybe a goal to tie this thing up. But when they did that, they also moved Pulisic like just sort of as a rover in the middle. And yes, he does wear number 10. He's probably the only person approaching a number 10 that USA has because of the skills that he has. But I
Sure.
think he is a lot better playing on one of the wings because of his speed and his directness, where he just
Hmm.
takes people on one and beats them. That's what you see him do at Chelsea when he does play.
Whenever
But
he plays, yes.
still, you're kind of in a tough spot because all right, we need this guy to be like the connective tissue here in the middle. He's the only guy that can really do that role. Maybe McKennie, but McKinney's a little bit more of a destroyer as well, and not as very like a lot of finesse in his game. I think that's underrated part of his game and why he does always get minutes in Juventus still, but not the guy that you could really put there like as a false 9 or a number 10 or something like that. But there's no 9. There's no guy that's just like the anchor up there. Like I told Tyler, like, hey, give me mid-20s Josie Altidore right now. This team would be popping.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Yeah, I would agree with you in saying that Pulisic is probably better out on the wing. Again, for whatever reason they put him in the center, and they started Zardes, which Zardes will always have a spot in my heart, being a CSUB guy, but like he shouldn't be starting these games. You want to bring him on as a sub later, fine. Don't know about using him as a starter. But yeah, that's also true. Is they just don't have the guy that it's like, okay, get this ball to him and he's going to fire it at the net. Until they have that, there could still be issues like like they had yesterday where
Sardis,
Gibbs.
I mean, physically he fits the mold, and yes, he has played as a number 9, like just as a pretty much like a straight ahead center forward in MLS for a long time. And he can do that, but I think of him more as like a power winger. Also, like I think that's really his natural spot. Again, the speed and the strength of him, and doesn't have like just the touch in front of goal that you would want in like a true like this is our guy, this is our 9.
Mhm.
So a little confused, yeah, by the opening setup. Again, I'm not totally disappointed by the outcome, even though yes they lost 2-0. To me, again, it just counts as a 1-0 because they were just throwing everyone down the field at that point,
Sure.
and they got caught out on a breakaway 2-on-1, and that's where the second one came from. But
But again, that's going to happen when you're down 1-0 in the 85th minute. You have to push everybody up. So yeah, like you're like I don't. The
and it
fact it was
throws you
2-0
back
doesn't
too
bother me.
when you give up a bad early goal, especially
Hmm.
on the road, because then the other team knows, okay, well we can just sit back and just take what comes to us. Like all we got to do is destroy plays, this and that and the other thing, and then we might just like pick them off on another one, and that's what happened on. Well, it almost happened like 2 or 3 times towards the end, but of course they finally did get one that made it 2-0.
Yeah, 'cause I just really, and even going back to the game last Thursday against El Salvador, like that's a game they won 1-0, and it was a. I know you and I have texted, but like it was a comfortable 1-0. That game was never really in threat of the U.S. losing it, but you got to be winning that more than 1-0. So like this final third play, these last two games has been incredibly disappointing from the U.S.
I don't want to say it, but and honestly, maybe this is kind of like, hey, this is the first time we had these first world problems, but I definitely get some like Arsenal-ish vibes. Like I'm just saying, like now that they
Oh,
know that they got like 5 or 6 guys that can pass the ball and keep the ball instead of have to like outrun somebody and take them on and like long ball and all this stuff. There's just no where's the cutting edge? Like, okay, but at some point these need to turn into goals. Like it's great to have the ball all the time, but you
if you
do
do
need to
nothing
be
with it,
putting
it doesn't
these in
matter.
the goal.
Yeah, and look, we'll see again. Hopefully, this coming Wednesday they got. They can see they got Honduras, who I believe is last place in the standings right now. I mean, that's just you got to have 3 points. That's a get right game. Unfortunately, it's going to be the last game for like a month, maybe a month and a half for these guys. So the international break is coming to an end. But I mean, you have to get 3 points. You have to put the ball in the net several times in this game just to get that confidence going. Like the U.S. is sitting pretty in the standings. I think they're still in second. I upload the standings. They're still in second. Probably realistically 6 points away from qualifying. I figure 24, 25 points will get you a qualifying spot. One of those top three to get the automatic spot in the World Cup. So I
Yeah,
mean, this is just
and
one you got to have the
only
three
giving up the
points.
7 goals, like that's encouraging,
Sure.
especially considering some of the defensive play that we've seen from this team in, well, I mean, we don't have to talk about last World Cup cycle, but like just in recent times, um, that's encouraging. And like I said, the talent is there. I think the midfield is arguably the best one that I have seen for a U.S.
Agreed.
team in a long
I would
time.
agree.
Guys
Yes.
that are just not afraid to have the ball. Like they want the ball and they want to try to, keep it moving and just make plays.
As
But
opposed to as opposed to Clint Dempsey and then some other guys.
yeah, or you're just gonna like, steal a banger or something. But
Yeah.
man, we could use someone that could hit one of those right now because there's just no like threat right now that I'm seeing. Like Pepe, I love. I like Zardes. I mean, I like all the guys on the team, but I just don't see like a clear cut like here's the guy, here's the anchor up top. We can play into him. He can play it back down, bring guys in, or just turn and fire, and he might actually score. So that is kind of the thing that's lacking right now. But I don't know. Maybe someone let's just hope for somebody gets their passport and they come over.
I would take a prime Landon Donovan on this team right now. That would be absolutely insane, actually.
I would take a prime Landon Donovan at any times
Yeah,
on
yeah.
any U.S. team. But again, he's really naturally more of a winger also.
He's a winger too. Yeah, yeah. He was never really a guy you could put in the middle up front.
But he's a way better goal scoring threat than anyone on this team right now. Pulisic probably is the number one, but he just doesn't have the physical qualities to be down there like trying to
I,
pivot guys.
I really think his time at Chelsea is doing something to his confidence right now too.
Which it might. I mean, he's trying to get minutes over there, and he's always. I know it's been a thing going on for like the last 2.5 years of let me play more. Then they start him. He has a bad game. Then you see him come off the bench for the next 4 games. So
Mm-hmm.
I get it. I mean, I appreciate him also trying to take that big bite out and go like, yes, I do want to go to Chelsea because there are American players like Pepe, where I'm like, maybe you kind of jump the gun here. Like, do you need to go to Augsburg? You play 3 games. Like, it might be a lot better if you're playing every week. I'm just saying.
It like in some ways I get it because I think him being there training against those higher quality players every day is going to help them. But there is also game experience is a real thing as well.
Well, you just have to find the balance of it. I mean,
Yeah.
yes, you want to play against the best and earn your spot. Like, okay, that's how you kind of make your bones. But at the end of the day, if you're not getting games, okay, well, that's a setback. Like, yes, the better practice environment, just like the whole mentality of like how serious it is. I encourage anyone that has that opportunity to really look at that, but just look at somewhere you can go where, hey, I might be able to like start some of these games within 2 or 3 months or whatever it is.
Sure.
Hey, shout out to Herc
Yeah, yeah.
Gomez, legend.
That was a good
But no,
shout
like
out,
you
man.
said, USA is sitting in a good spot here. Mexico just kind of, I don't know. I mean, you still think the talent they have, they're going to be, in the World Cup for sure. But like, hasn't really quite got going and giving up way too many goals, I think, and not scoring enough goals. Also, I mean, to have that 5 goal differential, yes, they're winning the games, but I think this is a team that should be on the high side of both of those stats.
What Thursday they were trailing Jamaica for like 82 minutes of the game, and they scored 2 in the final 10 minutes to get the win. And then was that Costa Rica they had a 0-0 draw with yesterday, I think is who it was. Like, yeah, again, Mexico they're probably going to get through. I don't look at I think those top 3, even though Panama is only 1 point behind, I think those top 3 spots are kind of maybe not set in stone, but it's kind of like those are the ones you expect to be there. But yeah, they've looked really weird this qualifying round. I don't really know what's going on there.
Costa Rica still in the mix as well. I mean, outside looking in, or maybe going for one of those playoff spots.
I say
Panama,
that fourth spot is the playoff spot.
yeah. I mean, I just think Costa Rica could potentially catch that team. They just have a hard time scoring goals. And
They beat Panama. They
on
beat Panama on Thursday.
on the flip side, Panama seems to have no problem scoring goals, but a very big problem letting in goals. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that I think is a spot in flux. And then really, if you're USA or Mexico, you just want to be like get in one of those pots, and win the thing, like go number one. So
Mm-hmm.
big weekend for Canada for sure. Holding on to that.
Shout out to Canada. I know we've been talking mostly about how the US look, but Canada, I've probably seen 4 or 5 of their games in these qualifiers, and they've been playing without their best player too, and they're pretty fun to watch. I actually really enjoy watching that team.
Yeah, I think honestly, I want to say they had 3 or 4 guys. I mean, yeah, it's a big result too because you beat the number 2 team. So there's whatever
Put a little
recency
distance.
bias on that, but they had 3 or 4 guys make the team of the week in CONCACAF. And yeah, this is all without Davies. Whatever the goalkeeper's name is, the guy that wears the sweatpants. Uh,
Yeah,
I kind of like that
he's got
guy.
like
He's a
got
red
like a
ass.
Slavic name, but he's Canadian.
Yeah, and he had a really good game against Mexico when they went up there. He
Hmm.
just was making a ton of huge saves, made some big ones yesterday also against the U.S. So he's playing well, and it seems like the organization, the team spirit is there for Canada. So um, coming out of the weekend, like all of a sudden you're 4 points clear. You're gonna have to someone's gonna have to overtake them.
Yeah, and at this point in time, 4 points with 4 games left. And you see Canada doesn't lose; they get a point every game. So that's gonna be real tough to make up that distance. But like I said, as long as you get the top three, you get a World Cup spot. Fourth place gets the playoff spot. I think you got to play like the number 2 team from Oceania or something like that. But again, I think kind of the top three is going to be where it is in the end. But definitely hoping for better, just better performances from the U.S. going forward.
Well, I still believe in this team. I think they'll figure it out. I do think they will qualify, which is at the end of the day the
Step
ultimate
step
goal.
step one, considering they haven't done that recently.
Yeah, well, we don't have to talk about it, but yeah. Like we need to be in that World Cup, dude, because otherwise people ain't gonna give a shit about soccer here. It just that's
Yep,
it. It's a fact of life.
true.
But let's move on to the Australian Open, and
Yeah,
we did have Ash Barty coming through, pulling that off, winning the women's final, um straight sets. Um, I saw some of it, but I didn't, watch the whole thing. But it looked like she was going to win, um, and looks like she took care of business there. And then we had Sunday, which this
I think
started.
this game just ended 5 minutes ago.
No, it's still going. It's
Oh,
getting
still
update
going.
here.
Okay.
No, it's still going. Still going.
Yeah.
No, I know this was gonna like on the ESPN ticker start at like 12:30. I was like, all right, I'm gonna be in bed. Like, there's no way. And I woke up at like 6 in the morning, still
Still
on,
going. Yep.
still going. And Nadal went down 2 sets to none and came back. And at the end, I mean, definitely being the much older guy, he looked stronger. Like the part that I saw, they kept showing the clock too. Like that's when it really started to hit me after like 20 minutes. Like, oh, this has been going on for like 5.5 hours.
There's a 5 hour. Yeah, there's a 5+ hour match.
Wow. All right. And Medvedev is a great player too, and he's really more in his prime than Nadal. But Nadal gets the well, for now, the record in major
Grand
championships.
slams. Yeah.
Um, good for him, man, because I always think of him as just like a French Open guy. Like he dominates that tournament. I think he's won it 14 times or something like that. But
Big
then
clay court guy. Big clay court.
you look at all his other ones. It's like, all right, then he won the U.S. Open like twice. He won Wimbledon 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
Australian Open, he had only won once before this, and it was like 15 years ago. So, and the crowd was definitely behind him. Medvedev was
Sure.
kind of. There was some moments where he was talking to the umpire, like, "Hey, can we just like tell him to calm down, dude? Like, come on, like this is out of control. I'm trying to play tennis out here." But he was definitely the fan favorite. But just the Baron said he was going to go back and watch it. I was like, okay, we'll set aside a quarter of a day if you want. But a great comeback and just a marathon, like just a death match, like approaching 6 hours.
Yeah. So before I get into this, I do just want to say again, shout out Ash Barty, first Australia to win a singles title at the Aussie Open in 44 years. She was just kind of the dominant force in the women's tournament throughout. It was kind of never really in question if she was going to win. Like, just absolutely steamrolled everybody. But this one, so I fell asleep kind of early Saturday night. So I woke up at like, I don't know, 2 o'clock in the morning, put this game on, and Medvedev was already up 2 sets. So I was like, oh, all right, well, this is going to be, I think he was up 3-1 or 4-1 in the third set too. And then all of a sudden, man, he just smashed like everything into the net for the next 2 sets. I was just kind of like, man, this guy is falling apart. And like you said, he started complaining to the umpire about the crowd noise, which like all that's going to do is make a crowd go even crazier. Like that's the worst thing you can do. But shout out to Rafa, man, just absolutely real gritty performance on his part. Just kind of never giving up, just playing his game of just, man, just get the ball over the net, get the ball over the net and make the other guy make the mistake. Fantastic performance again. You know, like you said, 21st major title, has the record for now. You know, Djokovic, I'm sure, is going to break that probably within the next 3 major tournaments. But still, absolutely.
Well, the next one is the French. So
okay. That's why I said 3. That's why I said 3 tournaments.
All right. No, it is. You know, like, not going to act like I'm super huge tennis fan. Yes, I do like the sport and like watching it. But especially
I watch the Grand Slams. That's about it.
Yeah, one of these though, where like this is a slog, like this is a death match right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought honestly, Medvedev, by the end, I didn't even think he was falling apart. It just looked like he was kind of gassed out, which was surprising to me because he's obviously much younger than Nadal, and Nadal just looked stronger at the end. Like, and maybe some of that is riding the wave. Like the crowd is obviously pulling for this guy, but he was kind of picking them apart. Medvedev was still hitting good shots. I mean, I think they had like a deuce number 7, like in one of those late rounds where it was just like, man, they're just like trading haymakers here. And it's just like, who's going to be standing at the end? But shout out to him I mean, that's just heart of a champion kind of stuff to pull that out, especially being, in his kind of twilight years. And I think it was like 2009 or something last time he won. The only other time he won the Australian Open before this.
Yeah, again, just nothing else to add, man. Just shout out to him, absolute heart of a champion.
And with that, I should have a stinger for this. I'll add one as we really get into it. But coming up on Wednesday.
Ba, ba, ba,
The Olympics are back. Yes, I'll watch it. I hope no one gets COVID. I mean, people are probably going to get COVID, but
I think people have already gotten COVID.
All right, yes, we don't have to dwell on the negativity, but the event is going on. But yes, the Olympics are back. Curling is back.
Yes. U.S. here to defend the championship. Although I think I think it's mixed doubles first, and then I think the men's tournament is after that. But still, U.S. is going to take the mixed doubles as well. Just look, if you've watched us, we're both massive Olympic heads. Don't care what the event is, unless it's maybe dressage. Don't care what the event is. I'm watching it. I'm into it. I don't care about winter sports except for once every 4 years, and now it's that time where I'm going to be the biggest winter sports guy in the world. So yes, we get to start it.
Our men are the best at sliding the rock. All right.
Yeah.
So come and take it. Come and take it.
A bunch of dudes that you would just like see in a bar in like some tiny Minnesota town on a Friday night. I just gotta love that team. But so yeah, we get to start with the mixed doubles curling tournament starting at 4 p.m. Pacific, or 4 a.m. Pacific time on Wednesday. In fact, we actually get some Wednesday morning and Wednesday night. See, there's some night going into the following morning as well. Curling, and I think we also get some women's hockey as well starting on Wednesday. I think I have that slide up here next. Man, again, you put the name Olympics on it, I am all fucking in. I will, if I'm awake, I'm watching it. Just so psyched for it.
Yeah, I'm never going to be mad about any Olympics happening. I mean, yes, the unsavory politics that go into behind the scenes of getting and hosting an Olympics. All right,
sure.
I get it.
That's a separate discussion.
I will still watch any Olympic competition. And like I said, our dudes are out here sliding the rock, and we are the best. So come get it if you want these hands.
There you can see the women's hockey as well. That's starting Wednesday night there at what is 20 is 8:10 the first game. U.S. playing at 5 in the morning against Finland. There, got to support the U.S. women's hockey team. Like women's
Oh,
hockey
the
is basically.
Greek. Wait, the Greek is coming in with curling picks.
Oh, we got curling picks for the Greek. For the Greek. Oh, there we go. Okay, let's get. Yeah, there we go.
Hey, flip it back over to the
I,
curling
I got
slate.
it. I got it. Okay, so here's the first curling slate. What do we got?
He's big on Sweden. Sweden over Great Britain.
I
Greek
can
is
see that.
hammering that.
Okay.
I can see that. All right, USA over Australia. I mean, does it even snow down there? You got ice? No, I don't know.
It's summer in Australia right now. Come on.
No, these guys are way out of shape. Czech Republic over Norway. I feel like that's kind of an
Ooh,
upset.
that's
Like
a bit of an upset, I think. Yeah.
Norway seems like a place that they would just be good at curling for some reason. It just
Yeah.
seems like something they'd be good
If
at.
if it's any winter sport other than hockey, like you can count on Norway to be in the mix.
Yeah, you're right about that. And then he's got the Swiss Miss over China.
It is hilarious to see China in all these events because like you just never see them in the Winter Olympics.
Well, I mean, China's kind of like the same thing as USA, Russia, like one of these countries where we're going to have someone in every single sport. Like, don't even worry about that.
I mean, China's going to have somebody because they're hosting it, so they're actually. I think the rules require them to have somebody in every event.
That's going to be a tough road upset then for the Swiss. But good luck to them, and God love you, Greek, for making those picks. And I will track these, and you may end up with the heater chain because I didn't even make my curling picks, except USA is going to win the whole thing. That's my only pick.
Also, all of Jaime the Greek's picks are, of course, for entertainment purposes only. Please believe that.
Please believe that. Please know that. That is guaranteed that they are only for entertainment purposes at the most.
But yes, Winter Olympics starting. We got some Wednesday, we got some Thursday, Friday, the opening ceremonies, and then like everything gets going from there. Like I know, NBC, if you use their I think they actually are showing everything live on Peacock as opposed to how they do it with the Summer Olympics. But I think they also have the NBC Olympics.
Shout out to the cock
as well. Shout out cock.
Hey, that's where I got to see a little bit of the Royal Rumble.
True, but yeah, like it's they'll have I think like some luge training, some alpine downhill training Thursday as well. So like just stuff going on all the time. Fucking absolutely love it. Give me all the Olympic coverage you can.
Hook it to my veins.
Yes.
And on that note, let's get into the football. Yes, I know we did not have a show on Friday. Again, I apologize for that, but due to unforeseen circumstances that I could not have predicted, I was predisposed.
I will go ahead and say this. I would have been 1-1 in my picks this week.
I would have been 1-1 as well. And with that said, I thought the Bengals would cover and lose, and I thought the 49ers would win. So there's my 1-1.
See, I thought Cincinnati would cover. I wasn't sure about a win-loss. I figured they would cover. I thought the Rams were going to win by more than 3.5. So that's where I messed up.
Was that 3.5? So 49ers did cover.
Niners covered. So you actually made that 2-0.
Wow, great team. But hindsight. I'll just considering the fact of hindsight. I will just say. I'll just put 49ers in the money line. I thought they were going to win the game. So
okay.
Probably if we did our picks, I would have taken the points or whatever. But, we can't really – what are we going to do? We can't live in the past.
Can't live in the past.
What I will say is this, and I told the Baron, Joe Burrow is a dude. He's
such a dude.
A dude.
He is such a dude.
And it is terrifying. I hope they win the whole thing. Well, plus I can't root for the Rams. But, I mean, I feel like if the Bengals win, it kind of makes the Raiders like the second best team in the league, right? I mean, we lost to the champs. What could we do? What could we do?
That's how transitive property works.
But what a game. And also, they got totally just pounced on early on. I think to me and Tyler, I don't know, I want to get your thoughts on this, but like the turning point, and I don't even disagree with why Mahomes did it. because you're just used to being able to do it. But not getting any points going into the halftime when he throws it to Hill and he gets stopped short, they go down to the tunnel, and then after that, it was like totally two different teams. Like all of a sudden, the Bengals defense was getting hands on Mahomes, kind of making him think about things. And if you just give Burrow a little, like, hey, just back me up a little bit, dude. Then he starts going out there and just diming up Chase. Higgins had a great game. Uh,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did.
Both the running backs, Mixon and P. Run, were just getting what you had to get, kind of thing. And some of the runs too that Burrow was making too on third downs, like
Yeah, some of the runs and some of the escapes.
yeah, I mean, well, I would put those both in the same category because
Sure.
the first one where I mean he was like dead to rights, like Chris Jones had him, like misses him, still chasing him, like this guy's still probably as fast as you, and then Burrow just gives that one little like whoop, hop,
Just a little
boom,
hop. Yeah.
first down, another one up the middle, keeps the drive going. Uh, Burrow is for real, dude. Like I'm just saying, like the thing is, and I was trying to explain to the Baron, Mahomes is world class because he can do stuff that no one else can do.
True.
But the downside of that is like he always thinks that he needs to do that. Like sometimes you don't need to do that. Like
Yep.
I get it that you can do it, and it is wildly frustrating to me as a division opponent fan. But sometimes we don't need to do it. Like we can just like chill out. We don't need the Favre like hero ball. And Burrow has more of just like the I don't know. It's like the Tom Brady, like Joe Montana, just like he just doesn't think it's possible for him to lose. I don't know if it's like dumb confidence. Like to me, that's what it feels like it is. But there's something to be said for that. Like he's still a very good thrower of the ball. Like he throws great passes. He has a bunch of good guys to throw to and two good running backs. But he just has that thing. I don't whatever it is. Like, hey, if we're close, I got this. Don't even worry. Like he just rolls up and does it.
Yeah. So to your first point, I would definitely agree that the definitely kind of the beginning of the turning point did happen on that last play of the first half. Chiefs. And again, as a Chargers fan who did this against those very same Chiefs, not taking the 3 points at the end of the half, obviously ultimately cost them. But it was just such a confidence builder for Cincinnati. Like, all right, like they just drove all the way down the field and we stopped Tyreek Hill at the 1. Very,
Which again,
very
I just want to say as a side note,
questionable play call, I would say.
it was questionable. But if you're the Chiefs, like to me, if you're Andy Reid, I give him the benefit of the doubt a lot of times because he just has like this like toy box of like, well, someone could just like take it to the house. Like, I mean, we got Kelsey. He's probably going to truck two guys and run for 50 yards. Hill's faster than probably everyone on this field. Like, Hardman also in the same category. Like, Hardman to me is really funny because he's like, or Pringle also. Like, they're like the poor man's Tyreek Hill, but they also have the real Tyreek Hill. So it's like,
right.
what? How are we going to defend this? Like, any of these guys can just like pop it. So, and then when you see Mahomes running around, like the extended plays, like if you don't get him on the ground and he's just like hitting, I mean, you can't really
There's
do
nothing
anything.
to do. Yeah. No, I understand your point of giving, Mahomes and Tyreek Hill the benefit of the doubt in that case. I just think, like if you're back at like the 8 or the 10 where Tyreek Hill has some room to maybe move and build up speed, that's a good play call. But like at the 3 where it's like the receiver is right where the DB is right on him at the line. So you're basically saying like you're going to have no room to move. I expect you to break a tackle. Hill's not a tackle breaker. He's a guy that just runs away from you. There's nothing you can do to catch him. So that's kind of where it's like, okay, I don't like that call, but I agree that was absolutely a turning point. And just the complete adjustments Cincinnati's defense made was absolutely incredible. Like in the first half, the Chiefs' offensive line was not giving up a single inch to Cincinnati's D line. Like there was no pressure. Mahomes had all day to throw the entire first half. Second half, they were getting his face. They changed up the coverage instead of going with just a basic soft cover 2, leaving a lot of the middle of the field wide open. They changed it up, ran a little man, covered the middle of the field a little bit more. And like I said, the big thing was getting in Mahomes' face. Just really impressive second half performance from Cincinnati and their coaching staff to make those adjustments. And then to the other point you said about Mahomes, which I completely agree with, is you're right. He does stuff that we've never really seen quarterbacks do outside of, maybe Mike Vick in 04. But he also does it when he doesn't need to. And the best example was the next to last play in regulation where like he had time to just sit back in the pocket, and instead he like spun around and ran back like 10 yards. Like you didn't need to do that. You could have kind of held your ground. You'd have been okay. Then maybe you can run outside when the pressure starts getting there. But he does do things. He does do the exciting things when he doesn't need to do them.
And the thing
again,
with the Chiefs, and for me, again, and I know you as well as a Charger fan, being fans of teams in the same division, I'm kind of curious about like how much is too much. Like Andy Reid is very forward thinking, and he always wants to like come up with new stuff to do, creative things. He has all these toys that he has to play with. And Mahomes, he wants the splash plays too. Like he wants to, hey, yeah, let's just do it. Like I could run around, I can sling it underhand and like flip it to some guy. But
sure.
Sometimes just you got to think of like the situation. Like we don't need to do that right now. Like we got it where we want it, and we can just like ride this thing out. So it's kind of like sometimes they get too greedy to me. Like where, all right, we all know you can do that, and you do that all the time. But like there's a certain time when we don't need that.
Yeah, and again, here's just kind of an idea of just the absolute. I think I've seen some arguments online that it's not so much the Bengals won this, the Chiefs lost it. I kind of think it is a little of column A, a little bit of column B, because again, Joey B just went out of his mind.
Well, he just
And
got a taste of, like, all right, we got the momentum back, and then he just put his foot on the gas.
And actually, I did also see this stat as well that Mahomes with a quarterback rating of 0, which if you took a snap and kneeled the ball every play, your quarterback rating is like 39.2. So he would have been better off not doing anything than what he did. But again,
I do see we have a caller here on the Arkansas Slim Legitimate Sportsman Celebrity Hotline. I do want to throw it out to Joe Byron, CEO Nick. How we doing? Bing bong.
Bing bong. Guys, how are you? I missed you. I missed you guys. Like, I haven't seen you in forever.
Hey, Lake Show in the house.
Give me a hug. Yes, because we all know the Lake Show. They will make the rise to #1 seed.
Hey, we're back, dude. We took care of your most hated nemesis, Trey Young.
Oh,
you're welcome.
That.
You're welcome.
You're back to 2 games under 500.
Yeah, whatever, dude. I'm not a big stats standings guy when it comes to the Lakers. I just like to see great basketball, which they put on the court every single night.
Russell Westbrook, come of the calling it right now.
But I don't know. Did you get to see any of the AFC Championship game?
I did. I watched the entirety of the Bills Chiefs game. Wow, last week that was a great game. Bengals Chiefs. Josh Allen, the word. You got your revenge. You can thank Joe Burrows later. But yeah, looking at you guys pretty much hit everything on the nail. I would also give a lot of credit. It was Jekyll and Hyde with the Bengals defense from first to second half. Obviously, you saw the QB rating in the second half for Mahomes was 0. But kudos to the DBs, because obviously, whenever Mahomes breaks containment, his receivers always find a way to get open or kind of at least just keep the play going. But kudos to their DBs for still staying on assignment and covering your guy, or at least closing the opponent. Because obviously, Mahomes, he's gonna do 5 spins, run back and forth, do a cartwheel, possibly do a backflip, get some push-ups in without his knees touching the ground, and then sidearm
still hit for 45 yards. Like,
yeah,
oh, dude, what?
But
Now, you're right. Eli Apple was the tale of two halves. He was absolutely terrible in coverage in the first half, and then I wouldn't say he was great in the second half, but he was pretty good in the second half.
I think
kept his head in it.
The last play before the half, where he stopped to Hill, kind of just gave him that right there. And then, of course, then came the Twitter beef right after the game.
As they are wont to do.
Well, I just think, like, them kind of flipping that switch, and I think, again, the Chiefs maybe getting a little too greedy, maybe whatever you want to call it. Like, trying to run that play and not take the 3 points. All right, now we got momentum. Now we come back in the second half, get a couple hands on Mahomes a couple times, and then all of a sudden Burrow's going to work. Like, Burrow, he's just a dude. Like, we all saw how he showed up to the game, first of all. Real diamonds, by the way. I mean, this guy is
real.
Ridiculous.
You're fine.
And I saw this other one that Taylor Rooks tweeted out at one point that I think this was a couple years ago, that Burrow told her if he went into an NBA game, he could get at least 12 to 15 points with a straight face. And I knew he was going to be great because that is just irrational confidence, that it's not even possible that he would ever do that. But that's just like, he's just the guy that he doesn't think it's possible for him to lose. Shout
out Jaime for dropping some Snow lyrics in the chat there. Informa.
Bum down.
But yeah, I mean, God, Burrow, I can't say that. And I saw this tweet and I thought it was absolutely amazing because it definitely sums up, like, the Bengals are having success despite their offensive line still being shit. But then somebody brought up this point, like, man, if you're a D lineman, like, every play you're getting through, so you really can't read that screenplay. Like,
yeah, that is true. I mean, that's kind of a weird vortex of like, okay, that part's bad, but on the flip side, it could be good.
But I mean, yeah, if the Bengals, and again, this will obviously be an offseason thing. And the weird thing is, we saw in that display we had last week, they're actually like the fourth best team as far as cap situation going into next year. If they can shore up that offensive line to be even just like an average NFL offensive line, they're going to be unstoppable.
Well, and if you're drafting, low as they're going to be because they're in the last game, you can still get linemen down there.
You can get decent linemen, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, speaking about next year, and Tyler, I was speaking to you earlier today, like, kind of switching over to the Niners-Rams game. Do you, with next year looming in, with Jimmy G, obviously I'm going to say, yeah, this is probably the last time we see him in a Niners uniform. Where do you see him go? He's still like 29.6 mil on his left on his 5-year contract. So of course, a team's gonna have to eat some of that, and I think the Niners are probably gonna have like 1.4 mil in dead money going into this deal. But looking at it, I was like, well, there's the end of I guess an era, not the era or a great era, but an era.
I just want to say, for one, hopefully Pittsburgh. I'm just gonna put that on the record. Please go to Pittsburgh. You got 1 year left. You blow them out. Look, you don't have a quarterback right now.
So I'm glad you said, because that was actually one of the things I said to Nick was I could totally see him going to Pittsburgh because there's not really any good quarterbacks in the draft this year. So bring in Joey, use him for 1 year, draft your quarterback next year, and go from there. I also think if Rodgers doesn't go to Denver, I could see him going to Denver, and that actually kind of scares me a little bit because just like San Francisco, all Denver would need for him to do is just be fine.
Yeah.
Don't need to do anything because they have pieces everywhere else. They got rid of their crappy coach. I mean, we'll see how their coach does next year, but they got rid of Fangio. If they get rid of Locke, bring in Jimmy G, and that team becomes like, I don't know if they're Super Bowl contenders, but that's a team that any given week, you're like, yeah, they could beat anybody.
Yeah, with the defense they have, I agree. And also one of the best home field advantages in the entire league. Lock up lock. Hashtag lock up lock.
Yeah.
Bring him back, please.
50 years, 6.8 trillion. sign him.
Yes,
He's-
exactly. Give
That is-
him the gross domestic product of Barbados to stay, please.
That's right.
But, God, please, just not Rogers, dude. If it's
I think Rogers.
Jimmy G going to Denver, I would take it. But, like, I mean, let's just get into the actual game here and what happened, which was Jimmy G didn't really give it away, which is always what you want. But
Right.
at the end, you got to a situation where he had to go win it for you, which is what you don't want. And he couldn't do it.
Yeah, he's been getting a lot of shit over that last play. And like, while I agree, it wasn't the best throw. I will also say this: he had D lineman in his face within like a second of the ball being snapped. You can't risk the sack there because you've got one timeout, and that puts you at like 4th and 23 on your own 10. It wasn't a terrible pass, all things considering. Like, it hit the receiver in the hands, and the receiver just knocked it straight into the air. So I don't put that all on Jimmy G, but this was a case. San Francisco was set up this year to be like, okay, we just need a quarterback to not screw up. But this game, they needed a quarterback that could do a little bit more, and unfortunately, that's not what Jimmy G is. We've said on here before,
Yeah.
like, he's a perfectly fine quarterback, but if you need him to be more, that's when bad things happen.
I thought, they kind of hit that point, or I thought they were going to hit that point, whether it was in this game or if they made it and won. Like, at some point, you're going to need this guy to, like, even if it's just for like 5 minutes, just kind of ball out a little extra. And that's not the Jim G way. Like, we saw what happened last time he was in the Super Bowl. He just whiffed on the throw. We saw in the Dallas game this year. Like, we don't need to do that, Jim. Like, we do not even need to do that. And, like, you just totally sail it over a guy's head. That's a free punt to the other team, plus position for them. He almost threw him another one. Like, once he starts trying to do stuff, like, he can run the game. Like, I would even say I'd put him in the game manager category. Like, I'd rate him a little above that because I know that's like a, disparaging term or whatever. But at some point, you're just going to need that little, like, I don't know, whatever it is, like the Joe Burrow thing. Like, he's not
we need a moment where you can become a dude.
Yeah,
and when Jimmy G has to do that, I don't know if he tries like too hard.
Just
it
don't worry, I got
quite
it. And then they do it, and then the whole team's like, "All right, dude, we're good." Like, he picked us up in that one spot, and we're cooking.
So what you're saying in the sense, like, let the moment come to you. Let the play come to you. Don't try and overextend yourself.
Well, he just hasn't ever shown the ability to make that extra. Like, okay, I got to turn it up to like 120 right now, just for like, again, could just be 2 or 3 minutes, could be like 1 or 2 plays, but once he starts trying to do more, it gets worse. That's the thing. And then this game came down to that, where it's like, you got a minute, you got one timeout, you got to take us 90 yards down the field. That's when the odds are way back against you.
I did also find the moment hilarious. Not hilarious that somebody potentially almost got hurt, but on the screen when they showed the Deebo Samuel tweet of him like, look at his record, man. Look at his record, and they get back to me. And the very next play after they showed that was the one where he like threw a terrible pass that just led Deebo to get absolutely destroyed across the middle and almost took him out of the game.
Yeah. I know. Beginning, too, I think, Higbee went to the locker room, and I think also Akers at one point was in the locker room. He came back. I think they both came back.
But they kept Michelle in. I mean, he was running the ball most of the game for the Rams.
No, I think the 49ers pretty much kept it where they wanted it as far as winning again. And their record against the Rams, I mean, they had won, 6 straight games?
6 straight,
which is almost unheard of in the NFL. But unless, it's like Broncos versus Chiefs or something like that, where I think they beat them like 15 times in a row. But, LOL. Lock. But, yeah, it just... And I always thought with these two coaches, too, and I always think with these two coaches, like, there's going to be a point, especially with them two in the same game, where one is going to try to outthink the other one,
Oh man,
and they're gonna dunk it. Like McVay had 2 really bad challenges that he did not have to
terrible
do,
challenges. Yeah,
and he just left himself with no timeouts. I mean, fortunately for him, he has a great team. Um, and then Shanahan, I go back to the 2nd and 1 when you can do anything that you want right there. Like we can try anything anywhere in the field. If we get this first down, we're taking 4 more minutes off the clock.
and let's
And
run straight into the heart of maybe the best D line in the game.
they run it up the middle, and then it's like, okay, well, we got to keep the clock going. And they run it up the middle again from 4 yards back from where they were because that play got stuffed. And then that flipped on its head. Like, Shanahan, you let it go. But I mean, I hate the whole Shanahan family anyway, so I wasn't sad about that. I just saw it unraveling right there. Like McVay, I was like, oh, McVay is giving you one right now. Like, I don't know what he is doing. He's just giving away all his timeouts. Like, and they're losing. Like, that's a gift. And 2nd and 1, I mean, and pretty much in the middle of the field too. Like, you can do anything right there. Like, try anything. Don't just like pound it up the middle. And he just tucked in. I think he just tucked in a little too soon.
Well, I mean, it is what it is at this point. A lot of missed opportunities, especially like if that intel was actually caught. I'm saying right here or there, like, yeah, that's your time right there to burn off the clock. But I mean, it really goes back to what was said in the beginning too. It's like putting the game in Jimmy G's hands probably isn't the best thing, and
you want to take it away from that possibility also.
Yeah.
So that to me would be another indication of we need to get this first down. Like, depending on whatever the situation is, if we don't get backed up on the 2nd and 1, that becomes 3rd and 5 or 6, and now we still have to keep the clock moving. You already screwed it on the last play. So unless you do actually get this first down, you really put yourself in a spot. And if the Rams do go down and score, what's happening then? Like, okay, now we need Jimmy G to like ball out, which have we ever seen that?
It's a shame. It's a shame with him too because, like, over the past years, you would have hoped he would have developed. Because, like, I run the comparison to Mac Jones this year. Belichick kind of like had him play within the system in the beginning of the season. Then towards the end, you saw the development happen. Like, okay, now I trust you to make the deep throws. Now I trust you. I trust your play calling. I trust your adjustments on the line. And you didn't see you really didn't see any of that with Jimmy G in the past 4 years. Even with that massive contract, I was like, all right, hopefully now this will probably he'll start developing. He'll start developing, coming to his own. Hopefully get a few 45-yard bombs, a game here or there. But I just felt like I saw none of that with Jimmy G. And
I mean, the only difference to me is that the Belichick thing with Mac is let's let him do the things that I trust him to do, and don't make him do things that I don't know if he can do. And Belichick will never back down from that, though. Like, he will just stick to the plan. And the 49ers were doing that with Jim this year. And then they kind of like outcoached themselves into a spot where all of a sudden, for the first time in the last 7 weeks, I need Jim to do something that we have never seen him do. Like, do you really want it to come down to that to get to the Super Bowl? Like, you just can't put yourself in that spot.
I also think, and unfortunately, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I know that the Niners receivers were like, if not the top, in the top probably 3 or 5 of yards after catch. Like they were designed like with Debo and Kittle especially, like they were designed to kind of like fit into Jimmy's strength, which is like he will hit that 8-yard pass every time, and then Kittle or Debo is just going to run for another 20 yards after that. So I think that's also the difference between him and Mac is Mac doesn't have those receivers that could just bust it out. Like he'll have to make that 30-yard throw sometimes. Yeah. Jimmy G and the Niners aren't designed for him to do that.
But do you think at any point then, like okay, we can't just solely rely on just like a quick 10-yard slant route, a quick screen pass, because eventually it's like, hey, we're gonna need the big play. We're gonna need the big play, and Jimmy.
And at some point, you probably will need that. But I just thought up until
I don't
the
think they were
second and
designed
one,
for that.
up until the second and one, Shanahan was sticking to the script of what they do with Jim. Okay, short throws, responsible throws. They still let him throw down the middle of the field sometimes. He hit a couple nice ones in the course of the game. But, like, the difference there to me was, like, Belichick would never waver off that plan. Like, he would do whatever he could on that second and one play to not have to get in that situation where it's like, okay, now I need Mac Jones to, hit like 5 straight passes and go 70 yards down the field. Like, he just wouldn't back down off that. But Shanahan going conservative too early, I guess kind of the opposite of what he did like in the Falcons-Patriots game where they were still throwing the ball around for no reason, stopping the clock. Maybe that's why, I don't know. But it just seems like he outthought himself when you get to that point, and especially like in playoff championship kind of games, it's like, okay, here's what we have been doing. You just have to keep doing it. Like, it might work, it might not, but we can't just like change it up right now.
Yeah. I wonder if that was the same case with the Titans too in Tannehill, because like they just pretty much once it was put in Tannehill's hands, it just kind of
that one was
play the game. He just into. I was like, what?
It didn't help. They came out right off the bat throwing with Tannehill. Like first series, they threw 3 passes. Like I said it. I said after the game was Tennessee just absolutely outcoached themselves that entire game.
Yeah, I thought they were trying to ease, Henry back into it. And all right, we're gonna throw. We're not gonna give it to you every time just yet. And we'll ramp you up. Tannehill starts, bungling. Henry never really gets going. So then you have to kind of start trying to go for it more and throw it more. And then Tannehill's just like 3 picks later. Yeah. You're sitting at home.
We'll see. We will see. Just please, Giants, do not take Jimmy G. Please.
So I do want to swing back to the Chiefs' defeat. This was a big thing that we saw on social media Sunday after the game with one of their local news stations, KMBC, sending out this tweet after the Chiefs' defeat. I can read it here. Against all odds, we were never supposed to be here. We were never meant to make it this far. But against all odds, we did. What a season. Thank you for the incredible ride.
We shocked the world. We shocked the world.
Shocking the world. Nobody expected a team that has been to the last 3 AFC championship games to make it this far. Nobody expected a team that won the Super Bowl 2 years ago to make it this far.
Yes, 2 straight Super Bowls. The odds-on favorite.
The Vegas favorite in the preseason to win the Super Bowl.
But you don't know how tough it is, okay?
No.
Look, just imagine the struggle that Mahomes has to deal with.
So much scrutiny.
He can throw with his right or left hand, overhand, underhand, sidearm, whatever. And he just has too many guys to throw to, okay? How is he supposed to make those decisions?
Seriously.
It's hard. I mean, it's hard out there.
Against all odds.
Yeah. Just, nobody believed in the Chiefs. I'm sure Disney is already writing the script for this movie, the ultimate underdog story.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Who will play Patrick Mahomes? That's a good question.
Jackson Mahomes. He'll play him.
Who will play Jackson?
Needless to say, this tweet was met with a lot of urgency. In fact, I was lucky I was able to find this screenshot because it has since been deleted, although it did take them like 12 hours to delete this tweet despite getting absolutely ripped, as the kids like to say, look at that ratio there.
Ratioed.
So many quote tweets compared to likes, just getting absolutely ripped. So, yeah, I mean, just, you really got to feel for the ultimate underdogs there, the Kansas City Chiefs.
I mean, it's a hard life.
Clap it up.
Clap it up one time, man. Clap it up one time. Let's go, Chiefs. Hey, heart of a champion, dude.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, again.
Against all odds. Literally against all odds.
Who would have expected a team that's been to the last 2 Super Bowls, won the Super Bowl 2 years ago, has a $500 million quarterback with probably 3 or 4 all-pro weapons at his disposal? Who would have thought they would have made it this far?
I didn't expect
It was a miracle that they were even in the conversation.
Who knows if they'll be back next year? This may have been their one shot.
Nothing in this life is guaranteed. It's not guaranteed.
I hope you're happy, Cincinnati. I hope you're happy that you ruined this underdog story.
I know. For shame. For shame.
Those big dominant Bengals ruining this underdog story. Terrible.
For a piece of crap.
It's not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed.
Burrow with your patchwork offensive line, having to run for your life and play.
Getting sacked 9 times the week before. Like, I feel like even veteran quarterbacks, I'm like, you know what, dude, I'm good. Like, you guys don't, you're not even blocking for me, so this is dumb.
After 5 or 6, it's like, that dude's screaming at the offensive line on the sideline. Like, come on.
Yeah, I still want to be able to walk when I'm like 50 years old, guys. So if we could, tighten this up.
You guys do know I got injured last year because you wouldn't block for me, right?
And that. Yeah. But hey, thoughts and prayers to the Chiefs against all odds. I mean, it was a classic underdog story. That
hopefully within next year. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they already had to surmount so many long odds just to get to this point. I mean, they'll probably be in last place next year.
Yeah. They might not win a game. They might not win a game next year.
Lions definitely going to win more games.
Oh, well, unironically, yes.
Oh. Fighting kneecaps.
Well, we'll have a dead week, yes. We'll get back with you guys on Wednesday if we can come up with enough stuff to talk about. So
curling talk, baby. We are talking curling on Wednesday.
Oh, nice.
Hey, we're pushing the broom out here.
Hard!
Right! Hard right!
Love it.
Nobody slangs the rock like the USA boys.
No, sir.
Thank you for joining us.
Sweden with your unnecessary J's and your healthy, clean living. Get out of here.
J's. No.
Bow to your curling overlords.
Hey, Sweden, get you one of these. All
Get you one of those.
Ooh. You look.
You come take it. You come take that Olympic medal. You try.
Got my knuckles all lined up and everything.
Right.
But thank you again for joining us. Thank you, CEO Nick. Thank you, Tyler. Of course, as always, we will potentially be back Wednesday with some hot rock talk.
Yeah.
Bing bong.
Bing bong.
Right.
Oh, one last thing. Trae Young, fuck you.
Hey, yo. Hey, yo.
You're not valid indictment. You're not valid.
Not valid. You're still not good indictment.
Oh, yeah. We will be back here. As far as we know, we will be back here on Wednesday. But thank you, Nick, for calling in, sharing your thoughts with us. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Thank you, everybody that's watching. We love you guys. You know the drill. Keep the motherfucking fire.
R.I.P. Chiefs. What a life lived.
At the buzzer.